Hey, good morning. Good morning. Come on in. Come on in. We're going to get started here in just a few seconds. You see, for some reason, when you go live on Facebook, there's always just a little bit of a delay. So I'll give a few seconds in here for all those people that are catching this on the delay to join in, jump in, come in and join us. And we're going to get this all going here in just a second. Just a second. So here we go. I see Connie's jumped in already this morning. Hey, Laura, you made it. See, Laura, this is the loyalty of our viewers this morning. I got a message from Laura that said, "I'm going to be on an airplane. I'll have to catch you in replay today." But you made it, didn't you, Laura? Glad to see you on here. Glad that you made it. So there, let's get this out just a little bit more, and I think I've got it. There we go. We're going to try that right there. So good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Janine. Good morning, Nat. Glad you're here too. Today I want to talk about what's on the inside. You see, that's where our integrity resides. Hi, Michael. You know what? Let's back up because I didn't even do the introduction. Good morning. I am Brad Smith. I am your host for Chainbreakers 365 Live and the creator of hashtag Uplift and Rise. I want to welcome you in here today. This is going to be a fantastic day because that's the way I choose for my day to be. And it is Monday, January the 6th, 2020. Man, it's going to take a while to get that into the habit. Morning, Michael. Glad you're here, buddy. I don't know if I said that already, but I am so glad for all of you guys. You guys are part of what I am grateful for every morning. Good morning, Jeremy. Glad you jumped in here too. And part of that is what I want to talk about. You see, first of all, I believe strongly in integrity. I believe that a person's word is really should be about what it's about. You know, if somebody gives you their word, you should be able to count on it. Unfortunately, today it's not quite the same thing as it used to be several years ago. I know when my grandfather was in business that if you looked a man in the eye and you shook his hand and you gave him your word, that was your bond. That was what somebody could absolutely count on. And to me, that's what integrity really ought to be about. Now, have most of us, and including me, screwed up? Have we not necessarily been a person of our word in the past? Unfortunately, I have to admit that I haven't necessarily been the person that I needed to be. And I've repented for that. I've asked for forgiveness for that. And I'm moving beyond that. The good thing about that is if you have, if you've taken responsibility for where you've fallen short, you are putting yourself back on integrity. And who you have been in your past is not going to necessarily dictate who you are going to be in the future. How you choose to behave moving forward in the future is entirely where your integrity is. Hey, Janice, good morning. Glad you're here this morning too. So let's talk about that integrity. And you know, it's easy to sit here and say, well, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. This is the person that I am. And for one, I am trying to really hard to improve myself daily on becoming a more and more and more positive person. You see, I really truly found that starting my day with gratitude, starting my day by writing down 10 things every single day that I am grateful for in my life, helps me put a framework in my mind for a more positive attitude. And when you hold on to that more positive attitude, you're able to look at your entire world in a different vision, in a more positive vision. You see, when we start our world in a negative vision, or we think negative things are going to happen to us on a daily basis, we almost begin looking for them. We're waiting for those negative things to happen. And then it becomes self-fulfilling prophecy. Well, the nice thing is self-fulfilling prophecy works both ways. If you're looking for the positive, you will see positive, and you'll see opportunities. You'll see where good things continue to happen to you, and you will find that you no longer take the small things for granted. But it's easy to sit here and say, this is who I am, this is what I'm about. Here is a real test. And Connie, you're on here this morning. I want to give you credit for it. Connie Davis posted a few days ago, I think it was the tail end of last week, talking about walking around with a cup of coffee. Right? We're walking around with a cup of coffee and somebody bumps into it or bumps our cup of coffee and the coffee spills out, right? Now, here's what's interesting about that is it's not the fact that the coffee spilled out, right? Because if I asked you, why did coffee spill out of your cup? You would quickly say, well, it's because somebody bumped me, because I got jostled, because I ran into something, right? Well, while that may be right, that's not really the absolute truth of it. The truth of it is coffee spilled out because coffee was what was inside of your cup. If it had been tea, tea would have spilled out, right? If it had been soup, soup would have spilled out. The question is, as life comes around to you, and as you deal with the setbacks in life, you deal with the negative, right? You would deal with the attacks that can come, and they will come. When those bump you, when they jostle you, when they knock you off your track, what spills out of you? What will your reaction be? Will it be one of positivity? Will it be one of integrity? Will you quickly accept somebody's apology for that? Will you accept that as just something that happens? Or will you get upset by it? Will you allow it to knock you completely off your kilter? Will you let it knock you off your track? Will you lose vision for where you're headed? You see, if you are constantly focused on being a person of integrity, of being a person of positivity, a person focused on your goals, then even if you got fired, God forbid, if you got fired today, you'll realize that this really wasn't knocking you off your track. This really wasn't stopping you from your goal. What it really did was it gave you the clear message that this is not the path you need to take. A positive person will not dwell on the setback of the loss of the job. The positive person will say, there will be several others that'll come along. There'll be more job opportunities. There'll be more ways that I can continue to grow. There will be more opportunity here, right? If you're in sales, you know those no's are going to come. You know those people that are going to reject your offer are going to happen. That's a part of business. Do you let it knock you off your kilter? Do you let it dissuade you from going to talk to the next person? Or do you keep the positive outlook? Do you keep the positive attitude? And do you go talk to the next client with a smile on your face, confident that you will be able to get your message across and they will buy what you're selling? How you deal with those setbacks, how you deal with those attacks, how you deal with that negative item when it comes into your life, that is what totally determines. No, it doesn't. It doesn't determine. It totally exposes who your reality is, who you really are in life, what is really inside your cup. So if that negative were to happen today, whatever it is, if you were to get, and I don't want to go into it because I don't want to speak something into reality that's not there. You know what I'm talking about. You know the kinds of negative things that can happen. You've probably dealt with a lot of them in your life. If that was to happen to you today, how would you react to that? Would your attitude be one of positivity? Would you be saying, okay, this wasn't the track that I will be successful over here, or there will be more opportunities today that will open the door for me to be able to walk through. I will find more opportunity. Or, as many times those of us in the sales business, if we've had the person we couldn't close, if we had that negative person, the response is next. And you move on to the next thing. You move on to the next item. You move on to the next person. You move on to the next challenge. So when the big things in life hit you negatively, can you say next? Can you say, I'm going to move on to the next item in my life? Can you move on to that next thing? Or are you going to get upset by it? Are you going to dwell in it? Or are you going to, what is going to pour out? Is the positive going to pour out, or is the negative going to pour out? What is going to spill over out of your cup when life knocks you to the side? So it really if you take a look at this analogy seriously, if you take a look at the analogy, maybe we need to take a look at how is it we would react if this happened? How is it we'd react if this occurred? Maybe that's the time to really step back and examine why it is that we would choose to act that way, and what it is we can do to prepare for those kinds of things if and when they come. You see, when we're able to prepare for those in advance, it becomes a lot easier to be able to deal with them when they do come. Early in my adult life, I was part of the United States JCs, or what was originally the Junior Chamber of Commerce. And we had planning guides as we went in to plan for certain activities. One of the things was to not only plan all of your steps, but also plan for all of the things that can happen that can be negative toward the attainment of this goal. What can stop you? What can knock you off of the accomplishment of this goal? What can come against you? You see, when you can look at them, when you can know what could happen and prepare for them in advance, then we either already have that wall up, we already have the guard up to keep it from happening, or we can immediately deal with it when it does. You see, a lot of times we're unable to deal with things because we don't have a plan, because we don't know in advance what we're going to do when those things happen. Do you have a plan already in place when those things happen? Do you have that emergency fund, so to speak? Do you have the resources to be able to deal with the setback? Do you have the network to move towards to be able to help you move forward in your career? You see, each time we're able to use those resources to be able to move around those setbacks, to be able to move against that negativity, we can keep positive because we know we already have the plan. So today, take a look at your life. Take a look at where you're at with your life and what it is that you want to accomplish, where your goals are at, and what you're doing to head toward them. And as you're planning your move toward those goals, also try to take a look at what can happen when something comes against you. How is it you're going to deal with those setbacks when they come? Because some setbacks will come. How you deal with them, what spills over when you get jostled, that will truly show who you are and what you're made of. Who will that be? What's behind the mask? My friends, I want to thank you so much for being here today. You know, I can't even begin to explain how much it means to me on a regular basis to see the same names come again and again. But it also fills me and does me so much good when I see new names jumping in. Kira, you joined in here a little bit late, but thank you. Thank you for being here today. Kira has been here several different times, but I'm always glad to see new faces, new names, new friends. Share this message out. There's no better way to grow our family than to keep sharing this message, because it might just be what somebody needs. Might just be what the person that you're dealing with on a regular basis needs to uplift their lives. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank you for being part of this group. Go out there and have a blessed day. Yeah, Connie, absolutely. Have a blessed day and go out there and be amazing today, my friends. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you tomorrow for Chainbreakers 365 Live, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, my friends, and we'll see you then. Bye now.